You had to identify the two biggest challenges you have here. What would you say they are?
Two biggest challenges. That's a great question. Finding a place to live was the first, probably biggest challenge that I had to find, that I had to overcome.
That's right.
Which I was able to do.
Good.
I think the second challenge really is just learning how all of the processes from the accounting side and the finance department work, and really spending the time to learn how departments work within those processes to find ways to streamline them. I think that's probably been the it's always a constant challenge to be looking at those processes and working with all of the departments, be it the enterprise funds or the general fund departments, police, planning, land use, town administration, HR, whatever the department is, because at some point they all of their functions do touch finance, and I think that right now has been the biggest learning curve, I'll say, because I think challenge might be that it's not possible to accomplish it. I think it's where the biggest part of the learning curve is how do we do all of these processes here, and how do they affect all of the departments? Because it's very easy for me to sit in my office and say, okay, this is how we're doing the process. But when I do that, I have to be cognizant of the fact that there's a lot of other departments that are involved in that process, and how does it affect them? So that's been the biggest part of the learning curve, is finding the time to go out and meet with departments and say, okay, here's the process that we currently have, here's some of the changes that I'm looking at, how do they affect everybody, so that we can make sure that the process we put in place doesn't go backwards.
One of the problems is this is all kind of behind the scenes.
Very much so.
And so it's transparent at one level, but it's not something that people go looking for.
No, they
don't.
And
they generally don't understand it.
Right.
So what would you like to have people saying about you in 2 or 3 years that would give you satisfaction that you were doing your job well?
Well, I've always carried through my career, and especially I'll use Millbrae as an example, okay? I would hope that they look at the finance department as a whole and say they're doing a great job. I've always said Millbrae was one of the only 21 communities in the state that was able to achieve the CAFR award. And I can't be successful in my role without the support and the help of all of the staff that work for me. So at the end of the day, it isn't only about people saying good things about me, it's about the staff that works with me. And so it's more important to me personally that the finance department as a whole is recognized, not me as an individual, because we don't function as a group without everyone.
You have a couple of groups with fingers in the finance pie. The principal one is the FinCom, in addition to the Board of Selectmen. But the Finance Committee is a group that has, and here I'm editorializing a bit, but over the years played a sort of good cop, bad cop role.
Sure.
Or passive-aggressive role is probably a better term. That's
Okay.
what I was struggling for. In that they want to be involved, they think they're involved, and yet they complain a lot of the time that they don't get the right information, and how can they make decisions with the information that's given to them? What do you see as the role of the Finance Committee? How can your department and their role be most complementary to each other?
Well, I think one of the largest roles that we have is to make sure that we provide any outside committee, that is charged with reviewing information, the most up-to-date and accurate information that we can. And having been on the Finance Committee, I would like to think and certainly hope that my time there will certainly help me in making sure that we're providing them the information that they need to do their job, because they have an important role in the town in reviewing the budgets that are put forth and looking at it from a perspective of, can the town afford it, I guess is the best way to put it. I hesitate and can't really speak to what the role between my predecessor and the Finance Committee has been, because I certainly wasn't here for that. I know that I certainly will strive, and my office will strive to give them all the information that they feel is necessary to make the decisions that they need to make in their recommendations to town meeting. And I think it's really just a sit down and an understanding of what they're looking for, and in terms of information, and being upfront with them if it's something that we're not able to provide instantaneously if they wanted, or if we can't. I think a lot of times, and when I was on the finance committee, one of the biggest problems was the administration would say, we'll get it to you, but there was never a deadline. And for me, understanding what those deadlines are, I think certainly helps, and we certainly...
And the follow-up.
And the follow-up
is
very important. And I think that part of it is good here. And like I said, I really... It's difficult for me to speak to what the relationship was prior. I believe that we can foster and facilitate a good working relationship just based on the short and brief interactions that I've already had in a couple of attendances to finance committee meetings. So I certainly think that we can have a good working relationship. Good.
Well, is there anything else you think we should know before we let you go back to work?
I really enjoy being here. It's been a great first month and a half so far, and I certainly look forward to being here for a long time.
Good. Well, thank you. Welcome to Nantucket.
Thank you.
BrianTurbitt,
Thank you for having me.
Finance Director
Appreciate
of
it.
the town of Nantucket. Thank you.